Jax starts now.
A father searches for answers after a Jacksonville police officer fires 6 shots at his teenage son. He says the officer should have handled the situation differently, even though the teen was holding an airsoft gun.
Maybe the gap is too wide between the community and the officers. Maybe we need to focus on how can we bridge this gap? How can the officers better assess the situation than shooting one of our kids?
That father says he's grateful his son's alive. Only one of the 6 bullets the officer fired hit his son, injuring him in the leg.
Yeah, this happened December 11th near the intersection, Maple Crest Townhomes off Harts Road on the north side. And JSO says the officer asked the teen to show him his hands, but instead the teen pulled out what appeared to be a handgun and the officer fired. Channel 4's Kamasi Aaron spoke with the teen and his father about what happened.
The teen's father told me his son has mental issues and has autism. He also admits that his son should not have had an airsoft gun at all, but he did. And his son says witnesses here where it happened told the officer it was a BB gun. That's why they both believe the officer firing 6 shots was unnecessary. This isn't how Edward Kimbrough wanted to get ready for the new year, wheeling his son into the hospital as he recovers from a gunshot wound to his leg. It's an injury he got after a Jacksonville police officer shot him about 2 weeks ago.
My mind totally went blank.
Kimbrough's son, Edward Kimbrough Jr., was at a neighborhood on the north side, shooting what neighbors said was a BB gun at windows. An officer came out after neighbors called, eventually approaching Kimbrough Jr., and according to police, asked him to show his hands. Investigators say the teen reached for his waistline and pulled out this, what appeared to the officer to be a handgun. The officer fired 6 times. Kimbrough Jr. describes those moments.
He was about to first pull out the taser. And then he just grabbed the gun, and then I was like, I looked at him crazy, and then I pulled out my BB gun. I was just shaking with the gun, and then he just fired at me, and I was looking at him crazy because I twisted my leg, and I was looking at him crazy on the ground. And then I was thinking of that, I'm praying to God that I stay alive.
He did, and when his dad found out about what happened, he had one question. Why so many shots?
This is a human life. You discharge your gun 6 times at a child that has a BB gun and you having prior knowledge. I really wonder what was his intent. I question his intent.
Kimbrough says witnesses told the officer his son had a BB gun and points out the gun had a bright colored tip at the end. But crime and safety analyst Gil Smith says officers have many factors to consider in those types of situations.
You know, it's not reasonable for a police officer to be able to look at a gun and tell whether it's real or not. Now, if the officer were to take a few extra seconds to stare at a weapon and try to determine that, and if that gun is real, those few seconds can make the difference between life or death for the police officer.
As this father looks for answers, his son recovers, sending this message to others using BB guns that could be mistaken for real ones.
I would tell them not to do that. Do the right thing. Don't be a bad person. And go on with your life and do the right thing through your life out.
The state attorney's office will rule if the shooting was justifiable. After that, JSO's response to resistance board will determine if the officer followed departmental guidelines on the use of deadly force. That process usually takes months. Kamasi Aaron, Channel 4, the local station.
We are now hearing from the attorney for